In any AI strategy and enterprises, this is very attractive, which is the time, taking my time back or my employees' time back with AI. But when is it this responsibility is passed to the employee or the department leaders to say, okay, I saved your employees' time with AI. What are you going to do with it? That chain of how do I get to ROI? Because that's at least in training that I helped save your employee an hour a day. And that's a lot of money on companies with 5,000 plus employees. So how does that chain going to ROI for a business?
Well, how does it go into measurable ROI, right? That's part of the challenge. How do you turn it into measurable ROI? I think that problem is not necessarily new. When robotics process automation was huge, I mean, it's still big, but it sort of 10 years ago was a big thing to automate processes, particularly in terms of, interacting with applications. I think a lot of companies and consultants had the promise that, this will automate so many hours of everybody's workday, therefore multiply that with some hourly rate and there are the savings. But then when you look at the P&L, it's not showing up. Why not? Like you said, you're going to save 10 million in automation, but it's not showing up on the P&L. And part of the problem is, fingers and toes problem, meaning, if you automate part of a role, it doesn't really make the role go away. You still have to pay for that role. And most people, they don't want to be idle, right? So they'll fill that time that they saved by doing something else, and hopefully something more productive, something more valuable, etc. But that is one reason why it doesn't show up as savings on the P&L. But I do think if you took a macro view and lots of steps back, you would see productivity go up. It just may not be directly tied to that one project we automated 10 years ago, that one Gen AI solution that we're deploying now. But if you pursue this general strategy, I'm sure if you go, take a few steps back and you take revenue divided by employees or some very basic KPI like that, you would see that productivity does go up. And it's not just because of saving time that you don't have to pay for, is that time gets reallocated to do something more meaningful and more valuable. And in fact, just the interaction with Gen AI requires a person to elevate themselves to think a bit more about the logic, because whereas automation before was very programmatic, step one, step two, step three, done. It's a little more complex to figure out how to explain to an AI what I really want, not just what I said of what I want, but what's the context for what I want that the Gen AI needs to think about. Even that thought process really elevates kind of the thinking about what's success for that job role looks like.
For Robbie Innovations.